because like I said, and I mentioned the 4 times in wrestling. And in fighting, it was, well, number one, there's not a competitive architecture, so you get to prove who the best is. Like, so wrestling, is really simple. There's a U.S. Open. If you think you're the best, you show up, right?
Mhm.
That will qualify you for the Olympic trial or the World Trials. If you're the best there, then they send you to the World Championships. When you show up at the World Championships, everyone else has their best guys there, and you wrestle. Like, no one doesn't wrestle in that and says I'm the best in the world. Like, it just
Right.
doesn't happen, right? It's very clear cut. Like, if you think you're the best in the world, shut up and go wrestle in the World Championships and prove it. No one wants to
Right.
hear it. And MMA doesn't have that, so I didn't get to compete. And that was, uh, in my time in Bellator, so 2012 and 2013, I was starting to compete at a really high level. I started mixed martial arts in 2009. End of 2008, 2009 was my first fight. So it was like I was 3 years in. I was really starting to kind of figure it out. And then I finished my career in Bellator, and obviously I didn't have an offer from Dana White. And then I went to Onechampionship, and I continued to compete at really high level.
Hmm.
Like I told you, by the end though, my hip was starting to become an issue, but it was one of those things where my body was degrading. But and honestly, a lot of it was due to my hip, and I didn't really realize it. Right, I was having a hard time
Sure.
just recovering from training sessions and that type of stuff. But I was gaining knowledge and skills still, right? So like you think
Right.
about a wrestler, you start when you're 5, and you're continually gaining skills for say a 15-year period. Well, if I started in 2009 with mixed martial arts, especially by 2015, it's only 6 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still gaining knowledge and skill. So even though my body was kind of going maybe downhill at say 2015, 16, 17, my knowledge and my understanding of the sport was still going up, right? So it was just kind of,
Mhm.
I think my overall skill level was still going up despite my body, maybe not following that course. Um, but yeah, so then I never got the real chance. Yes, I was the champion of those organizations, and yes, I think the highest I was ever ranked in the world was number 6 prior to UFC. So in UFC, I think I got up to 4 or 5, I
Oh,
believe,
really?
after the Lawler fight. And so then I retired, and I was retired for I think 17 months from one fight
Yeah.
to the next. And I mean, this is a thing where if you can redo history, I probably would have had my hip surgery at the end of 2017 when I retired first time. But then the other thing is like, I really thought I was retired. So like when I was retired, I'm like, I had been training at that point at a really high level. I committed to wrestling like fully at about age 14, where I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. I want to be really good at it. I did it year round. So I had been competing at a kind of a year round level for 20 years with no
Right.
break.
You
And
had a
so when I
lifetime of
retired,
a grind. Yeah.
yeah, so when I retire, I said I'm fucking retired. Like
Yeah.
I'm retired. I'm legit. I'm gonna go eat ice cream. I'm not gonna train that much. I'm not, and it hurt also. My hip wasn't feeling good, so it kind of hurt too. And so like I like did yoga. I wrestled with some kids at the academy to help them, and that was like it. Like I legit retired. And
Hmm.
so then um, when they called me out of retirement when the trade thing happened, which was October of, I think the talk started in October of 2018. I'd been off for almost 10 months. And so it's
Hmm.
like I was way out of competitive form because
Yeah.
when I said retired, I meant it. I wasn't like faking it. Whoever thought a trade would happen, it's still to this day the only trade to ever happen in mixed martial
It
arts.
was remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
wow. Yeah.
yeah, so I had to start from not scratch would be the right thing, but I was starting, kind of way out of shape and then trying to come back into shape. And so had I known that a trade was going to happen, I probably would have just continued to train and stayed in a really like, high physical form. And then when I would have got traded, I would have been, more ready for that. That makes sense.
But man, did you take advantage of that opportunity? You were thrown into the mix immediately. You were at the huge
Yeah.
press conferences with all the stars. You fought hard for the Khabib, man. You lobbied.
Yeah.
It was what you should have done. Same thing
Yeah.
with GSP when you were at one. Like,
Yeah.
again, as a fan, I'm like, go Ben, go Ben, go Ben.
Yeah.
You really, in my opinion, and which is, again, I
Yeah.
shouldn't say that. That's a strong statement. But the Jorge fight rocketed him. It propelled
Yeah,
him.
I know that's true. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I mean,
changed the
I
trajectory.
did know that I knew that I didn't have a lot of time, right? So when I'm retired, I knew I actually when I started kind of training hard again after the trade, literally right away I flew back to Missouri where I went to college because I
Mhm.
maintained a relationship with the orthopedics down there, and I was like, dude, what is wrong? My freaking hip is terrible. This sucks. Way worse than before. And they kind of told me like, um just deal with it for as long as you can, and then we'll see if we can do something. And then actually after my Masvidal fight, I went down there again and I said, hey, is there anything like I was thinking maybe there's a more minor procedure that they could do to relieve the pain and give me mobility back. And so that was like, I don't know, September-ish, and right. So I went down there again and tried to got some MRIs and some other things done. And then they eventually told me there's nothing you can do. So I did know when I retired that I was on a tight time. I mean, in my perfect world, it was the Lawler fight, the Jorge fight, and then if I had beaten Jorge, I would have been fighting for a UFC belt, and then I would probably win or lose. I probably would have retired. If I would have won, maybe I would have tried like a George or a Khabib, kind of a legacy type fight,
Yeah.
and then retired for good. But I knew it was a kind of tight time window that I was dealing with, so I had to make it happen fast.
Yeah, no,